Okay, I see 10:02. Time to get started. Great to see everybody. Welcome to the February virtual collaborative meeting for Medic. I'm Keith Coker. I'm one of the medical directors and will be hosting in part the meeting right now. I see over nearly 120 people on the line, which is awesome. All right, so a couple just odds and ends to start. As always, we have to list disclosures for CME purposes. Um, they're listed here if you're curious. Uh, just something that we always want to be sure people understand around confidentiality. I'm pretty sure we're not showing any unblinded site level information today, but certainly there may be some sensitive conversations. So just be aware of that and be sure you stay confidential. Please also don't take any screenshots, particularly of any sensitive information here as well. Obviously, we're on Zoom. I think a couple key items just to make sure we do our best to stay social and available. If you're able to turn your video on, that'd be great. We actually do have breakout sessions later today. So if you get it on video, it'd be wonderful for that. Maybe hard to participate on a phone, so if you can switch to a desktop or laptop, that'd be great. And then also, we can't always tell who you are on the Zoom login. So if you could please rename yourself, make sure you have your full name so we can give you credit for joining, add your site, and that would be wonderful as well. And then, for those that are joining by phone, all we see is a phone number. So if you can at least put in the chat, like who you are in that phone number, you can just put in the chat or secure a message, maybe Christy about information, just so we can give you credit for joining. A word on CME. We have 2 credit hours for today. We use the Michigan Medicine CME office for this. We talked about this before. They had a change of policy so that you can only claim credit within 7 days of the event. So just be aware of that. We have instructions about how to claim credit, both off our website with a link there. That QR code also takes you directly to the CME office website. The key, though, is that upper left-hand activity code. So you have to know that code to get the credit when you claim it. So be aware of that. We'll bring this up again at the end of the meeting as well. So here's our agenda. Just working through some welcome items and announcements. I'll hand things over to Michelle after that, and we're going to talk about top docs and top awards for sites. This is just something we always do at this meeting as our overview of 2024. We'll hand things over to Katie. She's going to talk about the new asthma bundle measure. This is something that we've been socializing over the last 6 to 9 months in many of our committees. And this will be the first time that we're going to be talking about it within the meeting. Then we'll take a break. And then the second half of the meeting will be a quality improvement activity and skills lab. We have Tom Frederick, who is a quality improvement specialist from Michigan Medicine's quality department. And we'll have a series of didactics, but also the breakouts that I was mentioning. We're going to do some practicing of some of these skills. And then we'll wrap up at the end after that. So a couple more announcements. A few scholarship items in the last couple months since our last October meeting. The top one was an exploration of how we use different types of imaging modalities and workups of children with abdominal pain, particularly reliance on CT versus ultrasound. And it may form the basis for a future quality initiative down the line. And then the bottom right is some work that we did with the Michigan Value Collaborative, which is a project similar to ours within the CQI family around emergency department-based episodes of care. A couple of notes about some abstracts at spring meetings. One is PAS, so the Pediatric Academic Society. This is work on the pediatric readiness. The first author is Jennifer Germino Thrush, who is a Peds Emergency Medicine Fellow at Children's. The middle one is at SAM. This is a medical student who was interested in disparities in wait times. And then the final is a submitted paper, or abstract, I should say, to Academy Health around race and ethnicity data in our registry. There are a couple other deadlines coming up for national academic meetings. We want to support your work. We want to know about it. So just something that we talk about a lot. We want to highlight any work that you're doing on behalf of Medic, both to reward you, of course, but also for our own purposes. We like to report this kind of information back to Blue Cross. Just a reminder that if you are using registry data or Medic infrastructure, there is a disclaimer around using that from Blue Cross's perspective. We have the wording there, but it's also available off our website. And if you have any questions about that, please reach out and ask. And definitely on that topic too, we have a poster session that we're going to host at our next meeting in June. We do this every year. We sometimes rotate which meetings, but we think the next one is the best one for this 2025 year. This is actually a meeting that's joint with us and the Bariatric Surgery Collaborative. I think the bottom line message here is like the bar is low. We want any work that you're doing in quality improvements related to Medic for sure, but even outside of Medic, we just want to showcase what you're doing. This isn't intended to be some rigorous, research study. This is about quality improvement. Any work that you've already done that you want to recycle, we welcome, and we want to help as well. So reach out to Megan, who spearheads this, if you're wondering how to get supported or if this works. We want what you're doing. A couple other announcements. So we have some new faces on the Data and Publications Committee. Beck Piasecki, who is actually a abstractor for Michigan Medicine, but also doing a research scholarship, research fellowship at Michigan. And she's a PhD in nurse background. And then Dan Overbeek, who is an emergency physician at ECS, who's a medical toxicologist and addiction medicine trained. So they joined our committee recently. And then one more announcement. This is in pediatric readiness. For those in that work or interested in that work, this is a session being hosted by the state, Michigan Department of Health and Human Services. It's a virtual conference. You do have to register. There's a QR code to do that, and it's on March 12th. So I'm going to pause there. I didn't see any questions in the chat, but happy to take any right now. Or Medic team, if there are things I missed, please add.
Keith, we do have one question in the chat, and it was about the poster presentations, whether they present on the poster itself or do you just display it?
Maggie, you want to talk about that?
Sure, happy to. So we typically do it as a poster presentation during the lunch session. So grab your lunch as a presenter, and then folks will be able to mill around during the meeting. I think one of the reasons we're doing it in June with MBSC as well is there'll be probably double or triple the number of folks at the meeting. That's not to make you nervous or anything. I think it'll be all Medic posters there. So just a great opportunity for more folks to be able to see your good work. Again, not something to overstress about. Very, very, just talk about your good work is really what we want to see.
Awesome. All right. So let me shift into the next section here. I'm going to provide an overview of our performance for 2024. So we show this dashboard a lot. There's some nuance in interpreting this. I think it's useful just to really understand the history of our quality improvement. the different initiatives that we have launched over the years, and some sense of the improvement process over time. But recognize, sites are joining in at various phases of their improvement journey. But in general, we see trends of improvement over time, over the years. Um, Good news on the VBR for those sites that are participating in this work. This is for 2024. We had two measures, one adult head injury, the other pediatric head injury, and we were successful and met both of those targets. For those that are participating, this means that in 2025, you get the uplist from Blue Cross as a result. So congratulations to everybody all around on that success. This is how things looked over month by month. This is the VBR head injury, adult head injury, where higher is better. We were generally always in the target area. And then for the pediatric version, this is where lower is better. We're pretty much always in the target period here, which is great. A word about the smoking cessation counseling for COPD. This is an optional VBR program for sites that are voluntarily participating in this work. In general, most of the sites did well and met the target. We're actually showing you the group level, so the net month by month. So individual sites may look different here. The target was doing 10% counseling for at least one of the months, so relatively low bar. As I mentioned, this is voluntary. So for those sites that are not doing this, who are interested in potentially participating for the next VBR year, we'd love to have you. Please reach out if you're interested. We are going to increase the targets for the next year. So either you have to hit this 10% counseling for 3 months. They don't have to be consecutive, or at least 1 month has to be at 25%. We'll talk about this some more at the June meeting as well. But again, if you're interested in participating, please reach out to us. We can talk about it. All right, so let's talk about 2024 collaborative-wide P4P measures. We had 3 of them. Pediatric respiratory, naloxone offer, and diagnostic yield for pulmonary embolism testing. We met 2 out of 3 of these targets. The one that we didn't meet, we got close, was the PE diagnostic yield one. This was worth the least amount of points. This was 5 points. We actually were doing better, though, this year than we had in 2023. So while we didn't meet the target, we are getting better with the PE measure. And I'll just walk through the month-to-month performance with the 3 measures. This is the chest X-ray measure, where lower is better. Generally, we were always in the target range. Similarly, for the naloxone offer rate, this time higher is better. And largely, we're always successful month over month in meeting that target. And then the PE diagnostic yield, where we're trying to reach a target of 8.5%. And largely, we're very close to meeting this target each month. And again, having some improvement from the year before, I think, is good news, even if we didn't achieve this. One thing we like to do as well is for you all to understand sort of the big picture around the P4P scores. This is 2023, just as a reference point. So each block is a medic site. You can see then orange is the average. And in 2023, we all kind of clustered at the upper end of this P4P range, where 100 points is the maximum. We weren't as good in 2024 this past year. Again, that PE quality wide measure was worth 5 points. Some of the lower end scores were related to sites not achieving the target, but also we give partial points for those that maybe didn't meet the target but had improvement from the last year. But we didn't see that in some of the sites, which is why the scores were lower for some. So I'm going to pause there. I got through all that performance overview and VBR and P4P, and happy to take any questions or additions from the team if I missed something.